Hey, how is everybody doing? I gotta pick my picture. Do I look gorgeous? Oh, hair's a little nappy. Got a little lint here. I'm a little hungover. The eyes are droopy. Perfect. Sunday. Welcome to Out of Abundance of Caution, an avant-garde microfestival of quick and dirty, fascinating work, responding to and from the places and people with whom we select to shelter. I'm your host, Xavier Rice, and thank you for joining us tonight for volume 19 of our 19th week. This July, this July, we've been switching up the format, if you haven't noticed, out of abundance of caution long forms. Artists will be taking a deep dive into expansive performance, experiments all night long, all month long. We're going to have experiments all night long, but all month long are the long form experiments. You know what I'm saying? There's a comment section. If you have questions, check the comment section. But you can join us every Sunday right here at twitch.tv/out-of-caution at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sign up for a Twitch account, get the alerts, and when we go live, join us at the chat. You can follow us on all the socials at Out of Caution. You can tip tonight's artist generously at paypal.me/out of caution or the artist's individual accounts. We encourage you to tip generously. I think that takes care of the gardening and the house tipping. I think that's good. Let's start it off. Our first piece is by Josephine Simple. The show, The Man Who Doesn't Exist, voiceover performance by Ryan William Downey. This is an excerpt from Joseph Simple's upcoming one-person show about how gender makes no sense and neither does life. Yes, nor does. Neither does life nor does. Oh. There it is. Josephine is a comedian, journalist for The Slate and New Yorker, and a marketing consultant. Their performances combine comedy, street dance, fake philosophy, and clowning. Zen monks have described Simple's work as a total mind-body transformation, and it is still comedy if it kind of breaks your heart. This is The Man Who Doesn't Exist.
People can see me. I'm live. Oh, wow. I'm just taking a moment to take this all in. Yes, please clap from home. I'm just basking in your claps. Okay, yes. Thank you. So, oh my God, we're getting some real claps. And they pop up, the comments pop up. This is beautiful. Most of my show is just going to be me looking at the comments, so I better get off the comments. Oh, y'all are killing it with the applause. I love this so much. Okay, I want to do a quick sound check. Given that I'm getting so many claps, I'm guessing that you all heard me, but sometimes people just clap for me unprompted. That's, just my life. So I just want to make sure y'all can hear me fine. Can you hear me fine? I sound great. Wonderful. And I'm going to move back a little bit, and I want to make sure that I sound great from this distance as well. Do I sound good from this distance? Yes. Wonderful. Yay. Well, shout out to Matt, who's running tech and doing a beautiful job. Thank you, Matt, for making me audible. And a couple of other items of technical housekeeping before we get the show started. I have been having spotty internet today, so if my internet cuts out, we're all just going to be upset. I don't have any backup plan. My backup plan is to be upset. So there you go. And if there's any background noise, it's probably my neighbors let me know if it irritates you. They blast music sometimes. If it annoys you, I'm happy to give you their number so that you can complain. So this show is an excerpt. It's 2 scenes from my one-person show, which is tentatively titled "The Man Who Doesn't Exist." The show's always evolving, and I hope that someday the show will exist for you in a live space, God willing. It was supposed to premiere at the Brick. Please keep supporting the Brick so that it can premiere at the Brick at some point soon. Yes, bricktheater.com. It's a beautiful space owned by 2 of my favorite theater enablers. And yeah, for now, I'm just going to be presenting parts of it which are hot off the press, parts of it which are older, and parts of it which are hot off the press for you, and which is why I might occasionally be glancing at my lines, which are right up here, but I'm going to try and do that as unobtrusively as possible so as to keep the illusion that I really am the characters that I'm portraying. The first character that I'm portraying is myself in a direct address to you. So it's very easy to segue straight into the show, which is what I'm about to do right now. When I was in kindergarten, and this is the show right now, see how smooth that transition was? Some of you may not even have noticed. Okay, when I was in kindergarten, and then I'm leaping back out of the show to comment about how that is the show. Are we in the show? I don't know, but I do know that the show starts this way. When I was in kindergarten, I'm gonna sit. When I was in kindergarten, one of the boys in my class told me that I had to go up to one of the girls and tell her that, quote, boys have penises and girls have vagina. I refused to do it. And he said that I had to do it. So I asked him why. And he said that I had to do it. So I had no choice left. I got up all my courage and walked up to the girl and I said, boys have penis and girls have vagina. And without missing a beat, she looked right back at me, leaned in close, and said, penis are from Venus and vagina is from China. And we both just stared at each other, kind of confused and sad. And, you know, that moment stuck with me for the rest of my childhood. It stuck with me because up until that moment, all the kids playing around me, all those kids were just kids. But at that moment, I learned that kids are actually divided into 2 teams because each team pees out of a different shape. As I got older, the team rivalry got more intense. I remember when I was 10, my friend told me that girls thought they were better than us because their bodies had more features. Boys just have 1 feature, penis, and girls have 3 features, 2 boob, 1 vagina. Well, when I heard this, I got pretty mad at girls. I mean, like, where do I even begin? Like, first of all, more features doesn't necessarily mean better, right? What if the features are bad? Might be bad features. Second of all, how are you counting features, right? Because, like, what made you decide that penis and balls all get counted as 1 feature? And if you really want to get into it, girls, the whole concept of discrete features is incoherent. I mean, what's stopping me from counting my shaft, my head, and my foreskin each as distinct features, right? And like, let's not even touch all the folds in my scrotum. I got a bit carried away, but that's how it was with this 2-team model. You know, this model really colored so much of my social life. Every interaction I felt like was a strategic move in this eternal struggle between people who pee out of a cylinder and people who pee out of a complicated hole. And the worst thing about it was I didn't even like my team, right? Like, we were the overdogs, we had worse uniforms, all of our MVPs had been accused of sexual assault. What was I gonna do? Move to the other team? No, they get paid less. I wish I could go back in time and tell my young self what I know now, which is that there are more than two teams. There are more than infinity teams. And I want to, just so that you and I are on the same page, there are new teams being discovered every moment. And so I want to share with you some of the latest and greatest up-and-coming teams. The teams that I'm rooting for now. So without much further ado, I would like to present to you a list of newly discovered genitalia.
A list of newly discovered genitalia. 1. The pubis. Its gourd-like shape makes it perfect for storing pee during long car trips. Another pubis plus is that when you're having trouble peeing due to a UTI or pee shyness, you can always let pee out of the escape hatch. One downside of having a pubis is that toothbrushes made for people with pubises are a lot more expensive. 2. The handy-dandy Bartholomew was designed by Mother Nature to be your best friend on the toilet. Its reverse funnel shape and oval mouth fit perfectly on top of a toilet seat. When expelling urine, the Bartholomew's muscles tense, thereby lifting its owner up above the toilet seat into a Superman-like flying position, which provides an extra thrilling toilet experience. When expulsion is finished, the Bartholomew's butler hand feature offers its owner a complimentary mint. This has led to mass industrial farms that keep rows of Bartholomew owners in tightly packed toilet stalls in order to collect and sell their mints. 3. The Escher. The Escher is the world's first 2-in-1 genital and baby combo. Want to procreate? No sex required. Just take off your pants and your private part is your baby. Since each Escher is a complete and functional baby, each Escher has its own Escher, as does that one, forever and ever. Therefore, every Escher owner carries their entire line of descendants in front of them and is carried by their entire line of ancestors behind them. When the Escher a generation above you dies and you have to carry their dead weight, this can lead to severe back pain. Since Escher owners walk around the world with an endless chain of dead ancestors behind them, they smell like rotting flesh, can't fit into most buildings, and are therefore relegated to homelessness. 4. James Erickson's penis. James Erickson is a senior at Gadsden Brook High School. When he found out that nobody was stopping him, he declared his penis to be its own type of genitalia. 5. The Sisyphus. Masturbating with a Sisyphus is eternal torture. In order to orgasm, the tiny man has to push the lower skin flap to the top of the hillock and keep it there. However, because the skin flap is attached to the base of the Sisyphus, the flap always topples back down, never staying at the top of the hillock for enough time to induce an orgasm. Since Sisyphus owners have the skin flap surgically removed so that the tiny man can actually place the skin flap at the top of the hillock, however, this surgery requires severing the skin flap's nerve endings, which means that when its owner finally orgasms, they can't feel anything. Surgery, therefore, primarily serves the function of giving you the peace of mind that you've done everything you could. 6. Somebody else's genitalia. People born with somebody else's genitalia often think that they've been born with no genitalia at all, until they discover the person whose genitalia they have. That person usually doesn't believe them and rarely even lets them see the genitalia. 7. Intersex genitalia 2.0. Intersex genitalia 2.0 is a blanket term for genitalia that doesn't clearly fall into the categories of Pobus, Bartholomew, Escher, James Erickson's penis, Sisyphus, or somebody else's genitalia. The reason you don't see many people walking around with intersex genitalia 2.0 is that A, people wear clothes, and B, in most cases, doctors will forcibly perform surgery on intersex genitalia 2.0 at birth to turn them into somebody else's genitalia. 8. The genitalia that is a list of other genitalia. Yes, I, the announcer, have been flashing you this whole time.
Good, I'm framed well here. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water and then we're going on to our second scene. Doc, you look at me and you see a man, right? Yeah, sure. Sure, I'm a man on the outside, but on the inside, Doc, I'm not this man living this life. I'm, on the inside, I'm dead. No, I don't need any medication. No, it's who I am. Don't understand. Ever since I was a toddler, I've known I was a dead person. When my parents took me clothes shopping, I didn't want to go to the boys section. I went straight to the urns. When other boys were out playing with sports, I just spent that time closing my eyes. Doc, no, I am satisfied with my marriage. It's not, I got into a loveless marriage because it makes me feel dead inside. Look, Doc, I am proud of who I am. Everybody I look up to is a dead person. Beethoven, Marie Curie, Anaximenes of Miletus, they're all dead people. No, I don't look up to them because of what they did when they were alive. Doc, I'm gonna just cut to the chase. The reason I'm here is because, well, I want to get surgery. Before you say anything, my wife, she also wants me to get surgery. She says it'll do wonders for our sex life. Yes, necrophile. Yes, that's right. So, what do you say, Doc? Can I please get a surgery? Well, thank you for finally letting me speak. I'm going to say to you, Mr. Patient, well, the truth that you've been living with for a very long time, but only now seem to be able to face. Look at us, Mr. Patient. We share the same body, the same voice, you and I. Mr. Patient, I think your condition is very clear. You're not dead on the inside. You're a doctor on the inside. And now is when you finally recognize it and let yourself come alive. Let myself come alive. That's right. Ever since I was a toddler, I've known I was a doctor. When my parents took me shopping for toys, I didn't care about the Hot Wheels or the fire trucks. All I cared about was the toys with the small parts that could get stuck in your throat. I warned everybody about those. And when I was a teenager, when a girl got naked for me for the first time, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything because that would have been unprofessional. And when she let me touch her breasts, I didn't care because there were no lumps. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. I'm not a dead person. I'm a doctor. And I think I just didn't want to face that fact. I didn't want to face who I really was. I would rather have died, and that's why I wanted to get that surgery. Well, Mr. Patient, I think I am going to perform that surgery. But not because it'll make me dead, but because it'll make me a doctor. Who am I kidding? I'm not a doctor on the inside. I'm just trying to come up with reasons to kill myself. That's it. That's the truth. I see it now. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dead person. Reasons to kill myself. I am a murderer. Ever since I was a toddler, I knew I was a murderer. When my parents took me clothes shopping, I went straight for the urns. When my parents took me shopping for toys, I only cared about the ones with the small pieces that could get stuck in your throat. It all makes sense to me now. Marie Curie, Beethoven, I don't look up to dead people. I look forward to dead people. That's why I only care about breasts when they have lumps in them. I'm a murderer. I'm a murderer. I'm an honest-to-God murderer. And just like any murderer, I deserve to die. Watch. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dead person. Now I feel the truth. Now I feel the truth. I'm in pain. Ever since I was a toddler, I was in pain. When I was a dead person, I was in pain. When I was a doctor, I was in pain. When I was a murderer, I was in pain. And now, when I am in pain, I am in pain. This knife is showing me who I really am. And when it's finally through with me, I will never get to be my true self again.
That was all of it. Thank you very much. That was Josephine Whiip. The man who doesn't exist. You can find their stuff on Instagram, dropped below. And if you want to find out anything more about our artist, please feel free to drop into the Brick website. That's www.bricktheater.com. There it is. See, this is why we have Matt back there. Give a round of applause for Matt. He's making all the technical magic happen for you. We are hanging out in the comment line. So yeah, right there. Thank you. Follow Josephine. If you have any questions during the show tonight, if you want to hear more about the artist, please feel free to drop a note in our comment section and hang out afterwards. We do a little bit of chatting, all right? Next up, we have Identity Crisis with Carmen Whiip. This show is Reflections of a Riot. Reflections of a Riot is based on Carmen Whiip's own experiences as a child during the 1967 Newark riots. Her story, built with her music and framed by powerful excerpts from James Baldwin's speech, brings us a painful, proud, familiar rendering of Black American history. Written, composed, and produced by Carmen Whiip, this is Identity Crisis and Carmen Whiip's Reflections of a Riot.
The reason that Black people are in the streets has to do with the lives they're forced to lead in this country. And they're forced to lead these lives by and the apathy and a certain kind of ignorance, a very willful ignorance on the part of their co-citizens.
I wear a necklace of a peace sign every day. I've had it with me for a long time. I've kept it as a reminder when I lived through the 1967 riots in Newark, New Jersey. And it was not only in New Jersey, it happened across many states at the same time. They called it the long, hot summer of 67. I watched my city be decimated to a pile of rubble. You see, it was a time of combustion. My people were tired, sick and tired of all the years of discrimination and injustices. We were imploding. So we exploded and destroyed the very city in which we lived. I watched people pick up bricks and throw them through storefront windows and run out with all the loot that their arms could carry. I remember our neighborhood grocer, who, by the way, did not live in the neighborhood, wrote on his storefront window, "Soul Brother number 1, I'm black and I'm proud." And we laughed because he wasn't black. But we also remembered for years he had overcharged for substandard foods. Springfield Avenue, army tanks as far as the eye could see. I'd look up and see soldiers on rooftops with their rifles pointed down onto the very streets that I would cross to go to school. My beautiful, beautiful city. The place where I learned how to jump double dutch and play hopscotch was no longer there. I no longer had a place to call home. How many times must we relive the same fight for the right of freedom just to live?
You and I might learn a great deal from each other. If you can overcome the curtain of my color, the curtain of my color is what you use to avoid facing the facts of our common history, the facts of American life. It's easy to call me a Negro or a nigger or a promising black man, but in fact I'm a man like you. I want to live like you. This country is mine too. I paid as much for it as you. And we will live here together or we'll die here together. It is not I am telling you. Time is telling you. You will listen or you will perish.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? That was Carmen Whiip's A Reflection on a Riot. You can check that out again and find more information from thebricktheater.com. So please check that out. As for me, I think that is it. Thank you so much for staying up with us. I really appreciate it. This has been a great show, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. This has kept me up later than you might typically stay up, especially on a Sunday night. Many of you have a Karen at work to deal with, and we know you need your strength to deal with it. So thank you for staying up with us. Me? I'll most likely be up anyway. Long after y'all have hit the sheets and taken the expressway uptown to Dreamland, I will be up. I will be the last ember, a sentry standing guard over nothing. My brain's on the late watch. I have a hard time sleeping. This hasn't always been the case. This cat fight between the pillowcase, a queen-size mattress, and their queen herself, no. As a kid, I had no problem sleeping, obviously, as I had no problems. Or rather, none that I was actually aware of. I'd have vivid nightmares. My flair for the dramatic, already a bright flame of faggotry back then, glorious if not over-decorated, filled in the gaps of horror. Dark, scary dreams. A gathering of my shadiest imaginary friends. Think Sandman Volume 2, big sweeping shadows, everything sketched out in black and white. Ghosts appearing and disappearing into the gray fog of a Hobby Lobby smoke machine, the dance floor of a gay bar on a Wednesday night in Des Moines. Dark, thick. I dreamt about werewolves covered in hair, caked in goo, claws reaching out from cages, howling. And it wouldn't be until my 30s that turned me on. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it was terrible. Back then, my dreams were an odd, uncomfortable mix of the crush I had on the guy next door, a furry daddy with, and who was actually someone's daddy. He had dark, lecherous eyes, a strong, hot demeanor, a Confederate flag in his front lawn. Ooh, that plus the sounds of my living room, the hit TV show Werewolves, a show about werewolves, where werewolves are being werewolvy and hunting and hurting people, screaming and whatnot. That played in the living room. I don't know what it's about. Honestly, I never saw it. I just heard the snarls, the yells, all the white people just screaming. I'm sure my father loved it. People turning into werewolves, white people screaming and running around. Those are two of his favorite things, werewolves and white people running around screaming. All of this provided the background to my own 80s TV show sitcom nightmare. I'm the star. I'm trapped with my girlfriend who turns out to be a monster. There's clawing at the door of my shack, which I live in, with my girlfriend. There are so many layers. A dark premonition. Little Xavier knew he was going to live in a shack one day and was terrified of it. Little Xavier did not know he was going to come out one day gayer than a basket of strawberries. And he was terrified of that too. Nowadays, the nightmares that keep me from sleeping in my shack in Bed-Stuy are nightmares about sleeping, oversleeping, too much sleep, ruining my life. You'll sleep your life away. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I got shit to do. Sleeping through scenes when I'm supposed to be on stage, sleeping on the train and waking up held captive in a basement of a pizza shop in Jersey. And those are just the PG dreams, you know? My latest nightmare? Sleeping through a Cloverfield-style alien invasion where I get left behind because I'm behind on my taxes. Visions of my enemies fleeing the city in helicopters and giving me the finger from up above while we all turn into zombies from the virus down below. Finding out on Instagram that I've been ditched by my friends who left me to save some trade they met on Grindr. And yes, I'm checking on my phone during the apocalypse. Don't judge me. Half y'all gonna be TikToking to the end anyway. The bad dreams, the really bad dreams, the R-rated dreams featuring gore and harsh language. Sometimes I dream about being a slave. No, not the fun one, the ugly way, the generations of brown folk with economic, mental, cholesterol issues sort of fucking way. It's an odd mix in my dream of service trays, chains, and dinner parties, where I'm both the guest and the guy who came to fix the toilet. I dream about cops sometimes, not the good ones, the bad ones in action flicks, not Marvel, but think DC, some really horrible shit. A fight sequence in the city streets, dodging bullets and racists and problems, and I'm just dodging. You know, all of it. All that other terrible bullshit I'm dodging. Knowing 1 out of every 4 of something is gonna come and get me. Horror films, am I right? They say it's the light of the phone that keeps you up at night, but that's not for me. I'm used to light when I sleep. Sometimes I still use it. Light. Typically, I'm up with it when I'm a little bit high and going to bed paranoid. Though in truth, I'm always a little paranoid. I still check under my bed when I sleep at night and look in my closets. Sometimes I'll wake up, all of me on top of the covers, butt naked, fully exposed to nothing, and it terrifies me. Oh, I better rewrap. Careful, pull my feet in, careful to contain the 6-foot something of myself, covered, protected, hiding from who know what, lest my feet dangle off the edge and be devoured by who knows what from God knows where, disappearing into whatever it is, because everybody knows it's coming and it's gonna come soon. You just don't know when. So you better keep your toes in, tight. Keep that light on. A light on in the closet, that used to be my thing. Dark, door closed. The door cracked open a little bit. Warm, yellow, gold light filtered through hanging garments. My parents' out-of-season clothes and bulky jackets straining the light, multicolored, spilling underneath the closet doors. No monsters in here, it says. Although, I gotta be honest, now I find myself thinking, isn't that odd? Being afraid of an open door? One would think that the closed closet door would be something to fear, right? It has no locks. Who knows what could be in there? But an open door for all the world to see? Why be afraid? For me, I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the back of the closet. The very back I was afraid of. The dark, the darkest of the dark. What's back there? Hidden in the shade, behind all the hanging out-of-season looks, behind all the out-of-season outerwear. Open or closed, I mean, it makes no difference. I don't relax to my back with my back to the door anyway. I have to keep facing forward. There might be something behind me in that closet, and it's best not to know. I'd rather fall asleep to the glow of a TV, though they don't really glow anymore. It was back then the empty channels, a dark screen with little white edges. You may not know about that now. A slight green would flow from this TV screen. A shrouded figure in the background, burnt, hidden in the frame from overuse, vanishing slowly into the background. A ghost in the glass, you know. Who's that in that TV screen? Is that the ghost of Sheila from the hit TV show Werewolf? The show about werewolves? Or is that just static? Some indistinguishable pops from my bedroom TV, a 16-inch monstrosity with wooden paneling and a knob to boot, radiating silence. A soft, fuzzy noise in the background reminding me I'm not alone. You're never alone, says a voice in the dark. All those other sounds, dangers, demons, and serial killers, drowned out by the humming of that silent screen on my private TV. The light wouldn't be dim enough to be noticed, so my father wouldn't come in and give me the, I'll give you something to be scared about speech. Did anyone get that? The, I'll give you something really to be scared about speech, or I'll give you something to be afraid of speech, or the, watch out, I'll show you what you can be afraid of speech. Maybe it was a black kid speech. Maybe it was just me. Sometimes I'd try to get away with using the hallway light, which is the best option, of course. The shine creeps in vertically through the door. Brighter light than the rest of my options back then, easier to sleep to. No thought of monsters to fear when you know the entire house is safe. My house, not a shack. A house with stable walls and a strong roof. No passing about the house and through my pool of light without me noticing it. We are safe and sound. For now. Any bump or creak in the middle of the night typically wakes me. One of my earliest bedtime memories is my bedroom door, kind of where it is now, creeping open in the middle of the night. The spread of its light waking me. My eyes open just enough to catch my Aunt Lolo, family friend, family, if not by name, then right. She peeked in on me as I slept. She would sneak in, look me over, pull a speck of lint or trash out of my tiny fro because I was a messy kid, just making sure you okay. While my parents' house party carried on in the basement, I never knew what that smell was, but only later did I put it together. She'd sneak out the way she came in, back to the party. The door would glide close. The hallway light would vanish. And I'd be fast asleep. Unaware with lint-free hair by the time James Brown came on. That was my dad's choice in music, something I wouldn't like until later. If he had left his party back then to find his son upstairs, scared in bed, or rather, as he would say, cowering in the dark, wasting electricity, scared over nothing, afraid of the dark in your own goddamn house. When you get outside, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, cops. He did have a fair point, if not delivered poorly. From this point on, my father would intentionally replace my fear of, insert something here, cops, bee stings, raccoons, racist, lecherous, hot neighbors, bullies from high school all the way through college and beyond. Fighters, people that would attack my very being, regular, evil folk doing regular, terrible, horrible, evil shit to each other. My father, his father, only had a glimpse of what kind of trouble was in store for his lint-covered, black, skipping around when he walks little boy. He didn't know. How could he? So he would be a hard ass on me till then. Break me of my fear, he would say. There are only two things in this world you should fear, the good Lord God and me. And when you're not afraid of me, you can get the fuck out of my house. Which is what I did later, much later, once I wasn't scared of it. Later, like see the world change later, you know? Like fall in and out of love later, like broke down, gotten back up, only to break down again later. So much later, and I'm still afraid of the fucking dark. It's true, man. I'm resigned to it by now. Uncomfortable and aware of how afraid I have become of being afraid. I've only recently started sleeping in pure darkness, confidently, comfortably, secure. That's not something I worked on or gradually, learned how to do. No, like most things, it was something I just had to deal with. Like right now, right then, right there, 5, 6, 7, 8, dark. This time I'd be sleeping miles under the earth or out in space. It makes no difference when you're floating in a bottle in the sea. It's real dark out there, not stage dark, not groping for a light switch dark, like standing in the backyard of your grandma's house in rural South Carolina, dark, pitch black, actual pitch, like it sticks to your bones. When you black like me, out there in the dark, you can't even see yourself, invisible, no light. Just the country, just the ship, making noise, groaning, churning, barring my way to sleep. More and more monsters banging at the hull, a fucking sea of monsters. Black, empty ground, empty, black sky, only specks of light blinking in and out, blinking on the roof of my bed, glowing little green school lunchbox stars, holding on to the ceiling, holding on to the light itself. It can be a trick, looking at the light on the stars. Sometimes what's shining up above, what you see up above is actually hiding what's down below. You're reaching the wrong direction, you know what I'm talking about? Because you were confused by the reflection of the light. Yeah, that's me, honey. That's me. And I don't think I'm alone. This fear of the dark is not mine. It is not unearned. It is genetic, in the bones, in the very meat of me. You think they slept well back in the olden days? You think this is new? Think they fell asleep peacefully on their hay-filled Tempur-Pedic mattresses back then? A changing of the times that's keeping me up. No. This shit is prehistoric. Don't move. Be quiet. My fear is organic. My lizard brain working overtime. Tongue out. Eyes open. Bulging. Could I even close my eyes if I wanted to right now? No, I don't think I could. I'm looking everywhere and my tail is up rigid. In the times of Columbus, white men wrote about mighty leviathans reaching out from the underdeep, tentacles dragging sailors down and under. Pop songs from sirens driving men to throw themselves onto rocks when they glimpsed a bit of tail they found in the dark, which turned out to be a werewolf. A werewolf. Actually, it turned out to be a walrus. A thick brown walrus. A thick brown walrus with thick thighs and thick opinions and a big, thick, open mouth, screaming, 2 long, sharp teeth, dense enough to dig through your blubbery exterior. I hate to tell you, honey, we're all walruses. Your harpoon is on your line. You're being hunted because you got that good meat, not in a good way. You had better keep the lights on because they planning to eat you. I'm talking about bodies piled up on rocks, the sound of wind passing through the earth, whistling through its cracks, muffled by broken bodies and gore, false song, false vision, leading to real consequences. I wonder if my people were afraid of the dark, the olden days, before that one menacing light charged for the shore and changed everything, changed the scene for everyone forever. Were they scared in the very beginning? I would be terrified. 2 silver glowing eyes in the dark, reflecting light from who knows where, watching. You're never alone. What color light is that bouncing off them eyes? It isn't clear from here. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? Is that a guiding light, a lighthouse, hidden in disco fog, or an anglerfish, sharp teeth, ferocious eyes, bobble, 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 come ever closer to my mouth? Could that be a light on a stick bouncing off a shiny badge? Hey kid, what are you doing in there? What am I doing? All tricks of the light. In decent light, a good eye can see the dangers far before your gizmos and your gadgets start ringing. I have an eye for danger, so I keep the light on. I'm going to be up anyway. I'm like that dude in the horror movies. It's the scene after you've walked into the bedroom and found everybody dead. Oh no, Kathy. You start running. You're like, what camp is this? Do I even know these people? Why does this camp have all the same t-shirts? You're covered in blood and you start running through the woods. And obviously I'm the black guy and I'm running through the woods. I've escaped the evil clutches. I ran and ran till my body collapsed. I ran until I had to walk and I walked until I had to crawl and now I'm the only one left. You are never alone. Oh, but I gotta rest sometime, honey. I'm tired, exhausted. But can I sleep? Should I sleep? I'll close my eyes and prop my head against this tree. Wait till the sun shines again and I can move. But, you know, you're probably getting ahead of me. If you stick with this analogy, you'll see my point. Regardless if I sleep or not, I'm as good as dead. Because in the movies, the black guy always goes first. Maybe not so much today. They usually go second. But either way, you're not in the sequel. Hopefully the pay was good. You got some good reviews because you ain't coming back. You're the hidden day player amongst a reoccurring cast. Your shit is real. So lights up, take a bow, you're wrapped. He's done. All for missing out on the light. I dragged this bit along, but a glowing red light just popped into existence. A perfect circle. The pupil of a hidden eye. My camera happens to be on. I'm watching myself now. Unbeknownst to me, someone else is too. You know, most of this, the dark night, these scary, undefined walls, this cramped churning in the dark, the lights off click, blackest, while you're trying to sleep. It terrifies me, being up that late, being that clouded in the night. My dark vision hasn't kicked in yet. It's not like I haven't been in this bedroom before. It's not like I haven't seen this place with the light on. It's not like I don't know where I'm going, even if I can't seal it. The ceilings are there, the railings are here, the wall is there, the floor is good. I know where I am. I'm just in the dark. Suddenly aware. I'm just in the dark.